This bench now resides at Benchcraft headquarters here in Cedar Rapids, and it serves kind of as a as a catch-all for some uh, workshop detritus, but also as a display for some of our vintage Etos or high vices from LaForge Royale. So we'll take a look at that first. So this is a cool one. So this has a kind of a little miniature crisscross in it, and it has LaForge Royale Paris cast into the arms. Probably made of beech. A lot of this wood has a lot of wormholes in it, um, and these massive kind of finger jointed parts that are just pinned and screwed on to the sides of the vise itself. This one, unfortunately, is missing the screws that go through here that clamp it to the bench, and this cap piece too. That was missing. But this is an original LaForge Royale high vise. And here's another one that we picked up along the way. This one is cool. It has a badge on it. It's brass or bronze badge with the LaForge Royale lion. I think this was, I don't know what the LB means. I kind of forgot about that. But this also has a lot of wormholes in it, and this same sort of finger jointed side piece. And this one doesn't have a crisscross. It has a screw parallel guide with a nut that you spin, and that kind of resists the movement, sort of like what the crisscross does. So that's kind of just a different design that was in the catalog. And this one does have its original mounting screws, so but no cap on that. So anyway, onto the bench itself. So each bench was made from a massive piece of white oak that started out at about 6 inches thick, and we ended up somewhere between 5 and 6 inches after we dressed it down with Bose Strata-Planer. They were all different widths. I ended up with kind of the runt of the litter because I didn't want a super wide bench. This one's just under 18 inches wide over the whole width and length. It's about maybe 9-10 feet long, I think, overall. The planing stop and all of the forged bits were hand done by Peter Ross. And the proportions on all of these screws and the hub and all the forged workings were taken directly from plate 11 and duplicated as absolutely close as possible. The forged handle here, the little nuts or the mushroom nuts on the end, are actually pinned on and then peened over by Peter. I'm not sure if both of them were. No, I think just one was. So he sent this as a separate piece. You attach it after you put it through the hub, and then you cut it off and then peen it over. But the other end is just forging, one-piece forging on the same part. So the hubs were turned down later by each participant, and then the iron rings were driven on and then screwed in place. Not everyone decided to use a crisscross in theirs. Chris Schwarz actually built his right off of plate 11, and his screw was much lower positioned to the ground, and he would just stick a wedge of wood at the bottom, just like Roubaud did. But later his bench was retrofitted with a custom-made crisscross. This screw here is French oak. It's made from one solid billet of 6-inch material, and these were all custom made by Nick Dombrowski at Lake Erie Tool Works. And he just did an absolutely phenomenal job with these, as he does with all of the screws and threading that he does. The bases are all draw bored together with tenons, true tenons. and the tops are driven onto the base with our double dovetail and tenon arrangement. And these have remained really actually super tight over the years. So this bench is just about exactly 10 years old, just a couple of weeks ago. I built this, as did most of the participants, right to plate 11 specs. So I also added a tool tray here, which is from plate 11 as well. You can't really see it here, but it's just basically a slot. You can stick some tools in there. If you look at the Bench Crafted blog, there's some really nice pictures of this when I built it, and I'll put a link in the post too, so you can get to that quickly. So I also added a drawer to mine. So this was on plate 11 as well. I dovetailed it. It has like a little sliding till in it, and I just nailed that together with some cut nails, but I ended up writing on the back when I flattened it. So looks like I flattened it 3 times in the first 2 years. Took about 1/8 of an inch off each time. So it's actually stayed pretty flat. I haven't used it much in here, but I would say that's probably maybe a 1/16 out over 17 inches. So not too bad, really. And these tops, they were just absolutely sopping wet when we milled them. They were so heavy. There was just water flying off the saw, off the wood miser that Bo was running. I kind of saved some stuff here from the build. Each participant got their own personalized box with all of their things in it, all of their forgings and the screw and the iron fittings and whatnot. So I just cut the top of my box off and kept it. Also kept some spare planing stop, and this was a sample that Peter made for us to just kind of test out the dimensions of the handle for the vise. You can see here that the handle actually goes clear through this bit on the end, and then it was peened over and forged. I kept that, and then there's also a spare. There's a spare forged ring there for the hub on the vise. So kind of a cool thing. So that's pretty much it. Pretty simple bench. It's held up really well. Really cool to have at the Bench Crafted headquarters.